but I didn't have any for y'all. Today there will be. There'll be 2 because I wasn't here first period. All right, who are we missing today?
Carlos.
Oh, Miss Wall, I see you in your new chair.
Yeah, Miss Love won it for me.
Won it?
Who won it for you?
Miss Love. We had competing teams, but she actually won this one.
Hang on, wait. Drew, can you shake for me? What? Shake for me again.
I'm sure I know.
You shake for me again. You shake for me again.
Can I do what?
You shake for me. Absolutely. All right. Talk about the mouse. We talking about.
That's me.
Yeah.
Keep one of these on my desk. I'm gonna get later.
Alright, so today we have DeMarco, we have Devin, Maria is not over there. We have Floricella.
Calculator. What does that mean?
Huh?
Go
Go to mode. Hit enter. Once mode comes up, hit enter, hit clear, and it's fixed.
I'm sorry to get 10 sheets of paper.
Floricella's here, Timothy's back there, Haley's up front, Devin, no Nicholas, Lewis is here, no Kayla, Tanya, Keely, Chris, Jonathan, Jameer. Jesus is still not here today.
I'm only coming back.
He moved?
No, I'm only coming back.
You don't know when he's coming back? Did he go somewhere?
No problem.
He was? Okay. Nishan's not there yet, back there behind Lewis. Drew is here, Abigail's here. Alberto is up getting the calculator. Nathan is back there, the other Nathan is here. Cynthia, DeAndre, Destiny's moved. And no Carlos today. Alright. Before we go over that, let's hand out quiz papers. Promise John have it today.
Those are packets.
You just gonna steal me. Hey, I hope.
Oh, yeah, Cynthia, you want it? And so I'm saying real quick.
I made 100.
Get back. All right.
Most of y'all did very well on this. Some of y'all got some glitches you need to work out by Tuesday.
Glitching?
Yeah.
You and Miss Baldwin with these glitches. Y'all be cracking. Miss Baldwin, like, I don't know, some of y'all might glitch and forget.
And some of y'all are thinking, why is this crazy when we go to test on Tuesday? Because y'all ain't gonna study anyway. And Maria and Sue in the water.
Yeah, boy.
Alright. So if you look at your quiz paper, I just handed it back to you. Alright, at the top for the units for mass, I took any unit that was a mass unit that was in metric. So I took gram, kilogram, which were the most popular, milligram, I had somebody who put decagram, I had a decigram, I had centigram. Most of them were gram and kilogram, but I took any variation on gram. Volume, liter, milliliter were the most common. I did have a centimeter cubed. I had some people who put centiliter, I had a deciliter. Any variation on that, again, worked. Time, I had seconds, minutes, hours were the most common. I did have one person put year. Any of those were fine. For volume, you had to put graduated cylinder. I did take slight spelling errors. If I could not tell what you were trying to tell me, I did not take it. It had to be fairly recognizable. Mass of a brick, triple beam balance. I can't remember if I took the scale or not. I think I did, but I really want a triple beam balance. Temperature of a liquid thermometer. I did take, again, slight spelling errors, but if all you had was T or TH and an R on the end, I probably didn't take it. All right, the abbreviations, these were a little harder on the spelling, simply because they're prefixes. You gotta have the prefix right. If all you had was a C for centigram and the The rest of the word was spelled wrong. I couldn't very well give you credit for it. So decimeter, centigram, millimeter, and decaliter. A and B, the most commonly missed parts for units. A lot of you did not put the units on your answers. 162.7 gram and 34 milliliters. Okay, and I did take points off of the units because we had just done a lab with that with the units on it, and you should have been able to put your units on your answers. All right.
You forgot what?
Looking at question 1. If you have to arrange this on the test Tuesday, what do you know goes to the bottom?
10.
The biggest,
The biggest.
the most dense.
The most dense
Yep.
goes to the bottom. So, object number who should be at the bottom of the graduated cylinder?
2.
Okay? I need to restart this. So, object 2 goes to the bottom. All right? Who's going to be the least dense then and go to the top? Okay? So, object number 3 is going to the top. And then who then is going to sit in the middle between the two? Object number 1 will be in the middle. All right, so number 2, I've given you a block of 10.5 grams and a volume of 4.25 milliliters, and I've asked you what the density of the block of wood is. So how do you find the density of that block of wood on the test? Okay, density equals M over V. So we have 10.5, which is the mass, over 4.25. And if you've not picked up a calculator today, you're going to need one, so you might as well get one.
2.5.
You got what?
Or 2.57.
2.5, 2.57, either one is fine.
No, it's 2.4. I'm sorry.
It's 2.4?
Yeah, it is.
2.4. All right, grams over milliliters because neither unit cancels. Now, I asked you, if you divide the block in half, what happens to the density of the block? Does it stay the same? Does it change? Does it divide in half? What happens to the density of the block? All right, let's see. Some of y'all said it stayed the same. Some of y'all said it divided in half. So let's just say this is our block, and we cut it in half. All right, what happens to the mass if I cut it in half? It does what? It splits. So what was the mass of the block? So split 10.5 down the middle. What do you get?
5.
All right, so 5.25 grams on this side and 5.25 grams on that side. All right, what's going to happen to the volume if I cut that block down the middle?
What?
Okay.
What would we be doing?
So what's going to happen to the 4.25 milliliters if I split my block in half? It's going to divide in half too. So what's 4.25 divided in half? All right, 4 point, or what?
1.2.
1 point, no, I can't.
Oh, you talking about
2.1.
Go about right here.
Oh.
It'll be what? 2.1. All right, so what's my density of this half? It'll be what? I don't know.
2.5.
How do you find the density of this half?
It's 2.5.
Mass over volume. So 5.25 divided by 2.1 is
2.5.
2.5. All right. If I do the same thing here, density equals mass over volume again. What's the mass? 5.25 over 2.1. And what do I get again? 2.5. The only difference is in what? And the way, most likely, that Devin did what? How he rounded the answer when he gave it to me in the top one. So does the density get cut in half when the block gets cut in half? No, it didn't. Okay? The density stays the same. So what should you have found yesterday in your lab with the Play-Doh samples? Should the Play-Doh samples have been the same?
No.
Or should they have been different? Okay, they could have been, but that should have been a measuring error. The Play-Doh sample should have been
different. Huh?
It should have been the same.
Is it different? Well,
They should have been the same.
It's a different.
You said different sizes though.
They should, yeah, you cut them up into different sizes. So when you calculated the density in sample 1 and
They
sample
weren't the same,
2,
They were close, but they weren't the same.
they should have been pretty close. They should have been the same.
That's what I said. I had two that was.
Some of that,
that.
some of that would be your inexperience in measurement, but they should be pretty close.
You said different. I was trying to be on difference.
Okay.
I had 10 grams, I had 2 grams, I had 7 grams. That's
You
just
got
the
it.
same.
So when your masses were different, you should have found the difference in the volume should have been proportional so that the density could be the same. Okay? Now, how many of you finished your labs last night? Okay, how many struggled with the graph? Okay, let me show you something on the graph real quick so that maybe you can finish it and then turn it in so it's not completely blank. Yes, you can. You said yours was done.
I mean,
I
but I thought you graded it.
I have not graded the lab.
Dang.
That's the only thing that's not graded are the labs I have. I have Drew's, I have Nathan's, Chris, Keely, Devin, and Devin. Those are the ones I have. Okay, those are the ones that are on my desk. Let me guess. A lab.
I ain't like.
Here, hand me yours, Devin, because I did
join like.
All right, find your graph on the back. In question number 4, it tells you to label your X and Y axis by what? First of all, what goes on X? Can y'all tell me what X is?
X? Which one is X? It's on the bottom.
So I'm asking.
Wow, they are close. They're like in the 10.
That's why I
X is
asked.
time.
They're pretty close.
They're close.
I knew they were based on your graph.
Yeah, X is time. Y is measurement. I'll go on my handwriting. X is time. Y is measurement.
Hold on, it's coming up.
Y is measurement. X. Y is measurement.
Come on.
How many
This
times?
thing takes forever.
Y is time.
You really did. I feel like
Y.
Oh.
Ah. So is this X or is this X?
The one on
The one on the bottom is X. So what does it tell you in question 4 up here at the top to put on X down here? Tells you to put volume. So on your graph, label volume. If you haven't written volume on X, do it now. I will tell you all semester, if you don't put a label, and I don't mean write the letter X, if you don't label what's on X, does your graph mean anything? No, it's just a bunch of lines that don't tell you anything. You have to label volume on the X or Y axis. If you don't, then your graph is junk. And you'll hear me say that lots in the next unit because we're going to do graphing. All right, what has to be on your Y axis? Mass. Okay, Devin's got his way up here because of his numbers, and that's fine. It's labeled. You can write the word mass, you can write M, but you have to label it somewhere that I can find it. Okay? Now, you need to number and label the graph. I'm going to tell you to count by 2s. So you labeled the origin, and you counted 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. Did he skip spaces? Nope. So don't skip spaces. Number 0, 2. The top one has to go all the way to the top. This one you can probably quit like he did at about 30. Okay? So count up on the top one to about 48, because you got to get to 45 on that top one for question number 5. And then on the bottom, count over to about 30. Now, before I die of old age, Jameer, where's your lab sheet? Mm-hmm. You lost it? You didn't give it to me.
It's in my book. I didn't take it home.
All right. Devin's got his, so maybe the one somebody handed me and said it's Devin's, maybe it's yours. Look at this handwriting and see if this is your handwriting and not Devin's handwriting.
that's why I don't like it.
Let me always try to take something.
I'm always.
Right.
All right, scratch out Devin's name and write yours, because they told me it was Devin's paper, not yours.
Let's see.
All right, we have our graph labeled on the X and Y axis. All right, you've got to plot 3 points on the graph. The 3 points come from your Part D data. So, if you don't have any data, you can't do the graph. Flip to Part D. So when Devin came and asked for help yesterday, I circled his data. Okay? The first point you're going to plot are these 2 numbers on your data. So if you want, circle them in your data table. Okay? His were 12.5 and 9. That was his first point. His next point was 16.2 and 12. And his last point was 22.2 and I think that's a 17. Now, I want to show you something while we're on this page. Remember this opening question we just did? And I said your density should be what for your Play-Doh? Should they be the same or different?
Same.
Look at his densities. 1.3, 1. And
1.3.
what are they?
1.3.
They're the same, okay? That's pretty good. All right, you got your number circled? All right, so get your first one. Know your mass and your volume. Flip over to the back. All right. Find your mass along your mass column. Find your volume along your volume column and put a point there. All right, so you got 10 and 8. So find 10 and 8. 10, 8, put a dot. Okay? Everybody got it? Find your mass, find your volume, put a dot there. Everybody got it?
I was processing something.
So you've got 5, and what's that, 10? That's what? That's not 1, 7. You got 15. That's
That's one number wrong. I'll have to one number wrong.
Yes.
This one. I think it was 60 something, but it wasn't 63.
That's not going to do that. That one up 1. That's one. We're going to check on paper because you guys work together. All right, let me see yours, Haley, because you might have made the same mistake Lewis did. Get my pencil. Haley, all right, got it. No, I take it over. So we've got 6 more to do. All right, you subtract these. So you were at 59 and that, so that's going to be 6. That's going to be, and I'm going to change that to, he had 5.
No, yeah, all of them have a first one.
Okay. Recalculate those. Now that we fix those. All right, so you're going to recalculate the 5 and 1, 5.2 and 4, 5.1 and 1.
I know.
All right, so you got those answers and the calculations and those.
The first 2 are straight wrong, but the third one ain't.
All right, how about over here? All right, so we got
And 7, 5.
20.6. 16.
The last one. It's right below 6. You got one number change.
Draw a dot. Yes.
I'm gonna keep it all.
The next one, you draw in all 3 dots. Then go to 3 and 17 on the dot.
Yeah.
All right. You're drawing blue dots. Forget. Oh my God. There's 3 dots.
But I feel a long way.
Over there, behind, straight up, behind Marco's head. So
Give it 13 and 12.
Alright.
Turn Marco. Give it 13 and 12.
Minus 2 is.
We're going to
Shot still alive.
Track.
put the master down and put the bar.
Guys. Several of you on this piece right here. Let me show you this. Look at your data tables. Look at your volumes. If you started at 50 and it went to 59, check your data tables. Some of you are adding these two numbers. What do you do if you started at 50 and the water went up to 59? You subtract the numbers. Some of you have added those, so double check and make sure you have subtracted those. Some of you have left these 3 areas blank. Make sure they have calculations in those areas. If you leave them blank, you lose points for that. You need to put in the calculation, so I should say 5/1 equals that. So put in the rest of the calculations. Now, for those of you who have your dots in, anybody got their dots drawn in? All right, what about the next one? You're drawing in the dots? Oh, now 10 and 8. So go over 10, or in this case, up 10, over, I told you count by 2s, not 5s. Count by 2s.
That's not working out.
Oh, didn't.
Count by 2s.
I didn't miss one of the numbers up.
Don't count by 5s. You're gonna have them all smushed together. All right, so you count by 2s. Okay, so 10 and 8. So you count by 2s. Okay, so 10 and 8 is good. And then you've got 7 and 5. So up 7 and over 5 is good. And then
And this was the same as this.
13 and 12.
It had fall, I had changed.
Okay. So 13 and 12. Okay. And then we're gonna use the ruler for a line.
I just fixed it, that's what.
Okay.
And the Marco.
All right, did you get your dots drawn in? You don't have the rest of the data tables, do you?
Good luck, I think it's
Dijon, where did all this data come from? Last year back there, you don't have any data. Where makes that stuff? No, it does not work that way. You gotta come back to school and finish your lab. You don't get to copy somebody else's paper. Let's walk up here and hand it to Devin to copy. It does not work that way. I know who finished and who did not yesterday. So you got to come back to school and finish. I'll be here next week on Wednesday and Thursday. I don't care. You can keep a 0. I'm an equal opportunity A, B, C, D, F giver. Those who work and do what they need to do make higher grades than those who don't. I'll be here Wednesday and Thursday next week. After school. After school. This is why on day 1, I said, you weren't here to hear this speech, but I'm going to repeat it since he wasn't here. I'm only going to do a very small snippet though.
This is second base.
Okay? What is the one thing that causes more people to fail my class than any other reason?
Not showing up.
Absences and not making up what? Word. So, when we came into class yesterday, some of y'all did a great job. You worked really hard. You worked well. You got through the entire lab. You got it done, and we're answering questions. Don't have to worry about it getting made up.
I worked really hard.
Got it through it all, didn't you? You don't have to worry about coming after school. Okay? Now, those of you who didn't work as hard, didn't get it done, I don't build in extra time the next day for the folks who didn't work as hard, didn't get it done, and go, Miss Wall, I need more time. Tough newbies. Okay? We're moving on to something else. Yeah, I wanted to say something else, but I get fired. Okay? So, I'm available after school. I do have third lunch. If you'd like to work during lunch, you're welcome to do that. Most of you are not going to give up your lunch period. I get it.
What
I'm
you
hungry
say?
too. I can't keep this fabulous body I have if I don't eat well. Okay? So I gotta eat during lunch. I get it. So, if you want to make up what you're missing, I'm not gonna keep you from getting a grade. You are welcome to do that. I'm here after school. Okay? So those of you who left early, by all means, come make it up after school. Those of you who dawdled and took your time and socialized during the lab, you come make it up after school. I'll be here. Okay? But we have time limits. And yesterday was a time limit kind of lab. And if you just copy somebody else's, then I just give you a zero.
I did.
So, those of us who drew in the dots.
She was like,
Where'd I put that ruler? I had a ruler. DeAndre, over there on my desk is a green ruler. Grab that ruler. Now, if you will, those of you who drew in the dots. Can you get the ruler off my desk? I need you to take a ruler that's close by you, but I need you to look at where it's at because I need it back where it was the fourth period. Okay? You're going to try to draw the best straight line that you can. Now, the straight line hopefully will go through all three dots. Truthfully, for some of you, it will not go through all three dots because your data is just not that great. And if it doesn't go through all three dots, that's okay. Did you hear me say that?
Yes.
If it doesn't go through all three dots,
That's okay.
it's okay. Put it at the zero line. Line it up with at least one dot. Okay? If it can't go through all three, it's okay. Make it go through at least one dot. And then draw a line straight through all the way through the graph. See how I drew on Devin's paper? And I drew it with purple ink, which is why I asked for his paper, because I knew you could see it.
no, because mine was a perfect line.
Shush. Okay?
Oh.
So from zero all the way through a line on the graph. And then we'll talk about how to do 5 and 6. And then put your ruler back because you don't need it anymore.
Came back to school just for this class.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You do what? Came back to school.
I didn't take the full day just for this class. When I was out this morning with my daughter for a doctor's appointment.
Glad you did. She should brought some Chick-fil-A back there.
I did. I didn't have any lunch up. The last of my lunch meat I gave to my son this morning for his lunch box, and so I just got Chick-fil-A on my way to school. I'm sure you will. All right. So number 5. Everybody got a line.
Wait.
Number 5 says use your graph.
Use your.
Determine the volume. Now this is your graph. Not everybody's graph will read the same. Even your partner's graph may not read the same because you drew your own line. All right? Find 45 grams on your graph. All right? So I'm going to lay my ruler here at 45 grams. It falls between 45 and 46. Okay? My dot, I'm going to use Devin's. I'm going to draw on this paper. He won't mind. It's right there. Okay? Now, that's where my 45 crosses my line. So I'm going to read where to find that. To find the volume. Where's volume on my graph? All the way down where? All the way down at the x-axis. So now I have to read down to find out what it is. Now, Devin wasn't very nice. He didn't count all the way across. He sort of quit on me at 30. So I got to count 32,
I got 44.
34 to find out what it is. So his is 34 milliliters. Yours is not going to necessarily be 34 milliliters. You got to count on your graph to see what it is. And then write it down at number 5. Everybody good?
Sure.
All right. The last one, in number 6, wants you to find density. So here, we have to calculate density equals mass over volume. Now, they gave us the volume as what? They told us the volume is what?
C and three.
It's 3. So we wrote D equals M over V, and we put the 3 on the bottom. Okay? Everybody can do that part already. D equals M over V, and put the 3 on the bottom. You have to read the mass off your graph. Okay? Everybody has to read their own mass. And it's going to be similar. All right? So find your graph. Find the 3. Devin's 3 was here. So we read up to the line, and then we read over. Yours will be similar. It might not be the same. So find your 3, read up to your line, and read over. And find your number. And then put it on top. It might be a 4, it might be a 3, it might be a 2. But it's going to be somewhere in that ballpark. Haley's is a 2. All right? Jameer's looks like about a 3. Okay? They're going to vary depending on your line and your graph. Okay? If I look at Tanya's looks like about a 4. Okay? So read your own graph and see what it looks like. All right, once you've done that, make sure your name's on it. First and last.
You want to round, right?
You can, yeah. Round to 1 or 2 places behind the decimal.
I still guess I'm still.
And then put your lab sheet over there on my desk. And make sure you put my rulers back for my 4th period lab.
Yeah, we have another lab today.
No, not today. We will, next week we'll do 2.
Well, you take a look.
We'll do one with cars. Yes, take one back.
You know what, 3
And we'll do one with gum. Is there anybody who can't chew gum?
It's not really me.
Can't chew gum?
You can't do pocket.
You don't have to, you just gotta be able to count and chew.
1, 2,
You gotta stop doing when you work.
Lost your anywhere. All right, I'll be back. Put your lab sheet on my desk.
She got a floppy saver.
Now, if you're in the category of I need to come after school to finish it, keep it, and I'll be here next week.
How about,
I'll be here during lunch.
how about you keep it to next week?
See, I forgot you one time. Now I'm gonna make sure you got one every time. I give you 2.
You keep it to, next week.
Can I keep it till next week? I can. All right, make sure you wear them late.
Drew, shut up, boy.
See this basket right here, Jameer? That's what I'm putting. All right, the paper I just handed you is review for our test on Tuesday. Yeah, I know I'm testing after the 3-day weekend. Y'all won't study anyway. All right. So if you will, try a couple of those problems. They're only going to take about 10 minutes off. You're taking 17, 13. You're welcome. Louis, DeAndre, from Mark. Okay. Now find the next one. Find the 15 and the 13. That's the 15, volume of 13.
Traded at the wall.
Yeah, you gotta be all right, sure.
No.
All right, and then find the 14 and 13.
That person got in there. He's shooting you.
DeAndre, come on. Okay, that's all right. Now, we're going to try to draw the best straight line we can. Now, that one seems to be an outlier. These are pretty close. So, all right. Find your 45. You can count by 10.
That's wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
So Luis Estrada come to see Miss Foy.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Sometimes not orange stripes. No, on both sides. Yes. Okay, I want to do it all again,
That's what I probably got you.
because you gotta have 45 on this to be able to have 25. Does everybody have a calculator to do this?
Look.
Come on, Bruce, do your work. Okay, so let's plot once again. Okay. So same kind of thing, very similar, so they're a little lower, they're a little closer. So we can probably get through those two this time because we know where they're at this time. All right, so now find your 45. Yep, read over to the line. You're at 45, so read over to the graph line. To the graph line. Yes, and then reach down to the volume. You didn't number far enough, so keep numbering until you get to where that graph intersection is. Okay, right there, here. And put a unit there, number 5. Put a unit on it. Where you find it. So what was the volume unit this about? Okay, now we're going to do density, number 6. All right, what did they tell you the volume is? Number 6. We're done with that. Let's go. Okay, 3 on the bottom. Now, we need a mass to go with that 3. So using your graph, find 3 for the volume. Okay, read up to the line, and read over to find the mass. Mass is along here, so where do we go? So if you're here, where do you go to find the mass? Okay, so read over. What is the mass that lines up with it? Huh? 3, this is in between. So put 3 where the mass is. So what do you get? Okay, so 1, put a unit on it. What's the unit? Because you have all these densities over here.
All right, who has a question? We got Cynthia straight, so who else has a question? Yeah. Huh? So you've got a density, which you put where? Yeah, so put it there. And then you're looking for this. So if you were in math class, how would you solve for that? What would you do? Very good. Excellent. Yeah.
So you just multiply that. 3.866 x. All right, equals. All right, we need the x by itself. So what are you gonna do? Yep. Who else has a question? Yeah, Mark. Uh-huh. It wants you to figure out the identity. Let's do that. You're gonna have to find the density and then figure out which one it matches.
Oh, okay.
Hey, it was raining this morning, it's Friday.
Shelby's still praying on flood, so she'll have practice today. Okay. Okay. All right, hold on. Which one do you know? Do you know M or do you know B? You gotta know one of them. So if you're gonna solve for that, what do you do? No, nothing times M is M. And yeah, the number's gonna be big, but who cares? The number's big. We'll just multiply those two together and you get an answer. I don't care, man. I make this stuff up. Don't worry about the numbers are big. I don't look at it and go, oh, that number is gonna frighten people.
I know it's right today.
Yeah, it's fine. You got another kid? So, if you've already got the density, you're gonna put it in for. Okay. All your actual formulas are the same as we have. D equals M over V. So, you said you know this, put that in for over here. You're actually solving for what this time? All right, so pretend you're sitting in whoever's math class you normally have, okay? Whether it be, Strata, Wells, whoever. You're going to solve for the M. How would you solve for the M if you were sitting in math class? I usually tell my folks here cross multiply, okay? So cross multiply, what's 1 times M? M. Okay, and then this number times this number is whatever it is, and what DeAndre was just complaining about, because you get a really big number. Don't worry about numbers being too large.
I thought I was wrong.
Yeah, don't worry about it. And some numbers might be really small, okay? And don't worry about them being really small or a decimal number. That's okay too, because I don't worry about that. Okay? And just like on the test Monday, if you get like 3 B's in a row, don't think, oh my God, this wall's trying to trick me by 3 B's in a row. I don't think about that. I just put questions on the test. I went and look at the answers. Okay? You gave me some favor that one. That's all I've been calling you. Let me write him down for a bathroom and then you should count.
No.
That shows us something. How many people want to let me sleep?
He said, what?
Then you owe me lunch too.
Who, me?
Devin could.
Oh, I thought you were
Let me get them birds over. Yes. All right, because it wants to know the identity. Okay, you gave you a map, you gave you a ball. You're gonna find a what? Find the density, then see which one of those matches. It'll match one of them, after you find the density. That's what I was just telling them, because it's asking you the identity. We gave you a mass, we gave you a volume. We gave you mass and volume to find the density, we give you the grades. And see which one of those it matches. We'll match one of them, okay? All right, David. All right, because it's asking you to find the identity. All right, it gave you a volume, it gave you a mass. You're going to find the density. Okay, so once you find the density, it'll match one of those, and you'll be able to figure out which one it is. Okay. Who else has a question? We have to make Lex burgers. That.
Because they tried to be a big Lexus and murder.
I'm sorry, I got some volume.
It's Friday, it's supposed to be a game day, but. Alright. Yes, we get on.
Possibly, we're still working.
I walk out this one thing.
All right, because this one has a density of 6.4, and that has a density of 1, what's gonna happen? Is it more dense or less dense? Water is, remember, you're putting that in the water.
I swear, he said the other dude, you can do that. All he does, he does.
I just look.
You got what time in the breast?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, guys.
That light is lower.
But if it bothers you, don't put it in the while you're counting.
You said sorry.
First of all,
Okay, so I asked the question. This is water.
so you got water in it, that's essentially a cup. Okay, and we put that in.
Yeah, just want to make sure.
Yes, that's correct. All right, so they're asking you to calculate the mass. They're giving you the density, and they're giving you the volume, they're asking you to find the mass of the gold. It's no group school. Where? Number 7? Mass over volume?
Yeah. What are we learning? No time, we already learned like 2 times.
What gas is, volume.
Oh, yeah, right, sure. They're done. Alright, so you got all 3 of these, 4 of them, okay? How would they be arranged, from lowest to highest, right? What order would they be in?
We did the same thing with volume.
You'd have to cross multiply and divide the volume, because you're not gonna have volume by itself, just cross multiply. Question, Nathan? What? Try to find the other, we got to find density. Calculate the density, and it will match one of those things.
Well, do we have to show our work?
I'll ask some questions.
One is a positive 2. So, you're doing the first one? Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah. Which I mean, it's what?
Yes, different one.
This is, well, question is, this right? We're gonna do it. Was this the thing that we did the other day?
Mm-hmm.
Is that like the thing that we did the other day?
Yep, except I didn't actually put the graduate cylinder, just tell me largest to smallest, or smallest to largest, so let's see.
And then this.
Silver.
Yeah. All right, a couple more minutes, then we're gonna go over it. All right. 7.86 equals what? Now you get V by itself. This is V. You want V by itself, so what do you have to get off the V? So how do you gotta divide that.
Hey.
Thank you. Okay. All right. See how it says density is that? You put it in for mass. It's got to go in for density. So you want 19.3 to be there. 85.6 to be there. Mass to be there. So how are we going to solve for that? Yes. I know like that. Sure. Yep. Perfect. That's $1 million. You know, one question. Do a few more and I'll let you go backward. I have a formula last night. It's not. Yes. You're going to find the density of each of those. Okay. It says put them in order. Okay. So that's basically smallest to largest. You got to calculate this one, this one, this one, and then put them on. Yeah. So mass of the volume. So take the mass, divide it by the volume. Oh.
I'm sorry, I don't know you 5,000 pounds up.
That's wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
I need Andrew Pittman also.
Okay. I know I didn't fix that. What do we do? You're not going back on the door?
So this is like doing the graph up there.
Yeah, now take any of those lines and calculate the density.
It's all the exact same thing.
Just right now.
So,
Try not to walk on it. So it makes it nasty. You will always carry it. All right, let's take a look at what you got. Some of y'all are further along than others. Let's see what you got. All right, in the first one, I don't think anybody didn't get that one done. Density equals mass over volume, right? What's the mass?
12.3.
12.3 grams. What's the volume?
35.6.
All right, so what would we do to this on the test Tuesday to get an answer? We would just divide. All right, so 12.3 divide 35.6, and you get 0.34. And again, I'm cutting it off in 2 places behind the decimal. I'm not writing all that crap on the calculator out, okay? Now, number 2, a lot of you called me over into Miss Wall. I'm going to do number 2. Number 2 is asking you what's the identity of a metal. Now, if they give you a chart and they give you some elements in it, what are you going to find if they give you a mass and a volume?
Density.
You're going to find the density. Density equals
170.1
Over.
63.
And when you divide, you get 2.7, right? So that's going to tell you it's aluminum. All right, now, number 3 caused some issues walking around the room. What are they asking you to find? Find the question word. Mass. So when you solve this, several of you said D equals 19.3 over 85.6. Now, if you do that, are you solving for mass? No. Okay? So be mindful of that on the test. You're solving for mass, so you got to be solving for the M. So where's that 19.3 going to have to go? The density. Okay? So put it in for where the D is. And then your 85.6, you have in the right spot for volume. Now, how do you solve for that in math class? Cross multiply. And I know you heard me talk about Andre when he said,
you got 1,652.8.
when he said, Ms. Wall, that answer's too big. Again, on the test, I don't pay attention to how big or how small the answers are, so don't get freaked out by that. Don't get freaked out if the numbers have 3 B's or 3 A's in a row. I don't pay attention to that either, okay? All right, number 4. I don't do it intentionally, and I try not to, but if it happens, it just happened. All right, so what's the density of a sample of matter if you have 15.3 grams and a volume of 2.36? 15.3 grams, 2.36 milliliters. Okay, 6.4. Now, so I'm asking you, if water has a density of 1, will the sample float or sink? So, say we have a cup of water, and this has a density of 1 gram per milliliter. If I drop that in there, what's going to happen? Is it going to sink to the bottom, or is it going to float on the top? It's going to sink because this thing is more dense. Everybody get that? Anything that's more dense, it's a bigger number, it's going to sink to the bottom. If it's a smaller number, it will float along the top. Okay? Number 5, what's the mass? So again, D equals M over V, we're solving for M. So what's my density? All right, what's my volume? So how do I solve for my mass? 112? All right. Number 6 caused some issues. And this one will cause issues on the test because a lot of you struggle with this and you just pick up the calculator. When I'm flipping through your test papers on Tuesday, should I see writing on the test? I should see work. And a lot of times I don't see anything because y'all just punch on the calculators. And then I have the test papers back on Wednesday and you come this fall. Why did I do so bad? Because you just picked up the calculators. I should see this stuff on your test paper where y'all are working the problems out. Okay? Okay, tell me what to do then, Nishan.
Okay. Density equals 7.86.
Okay, what's my mass?
The mass is going to be 2.4.
And what's my volume?
We got to divide.
Well, hold on, what am I going to write for volume? Okay, so how to solve? What I do?
You're going to divide.
No, you're gonna multiply.
Going to cross multiply first. Okay.
7.6.
I know you did it on your paper because I watched you. All right, so Nishan cross multiplied to get there. And now he's going to tell me the next step that he's been trying to tell me. Go divide by what? All right. Now, you see this V right here? Everybody wants to do this. You see this V? It needs to be by itself. What's with that V we don't want with that V?
7.86, so you divide 7.86.
We don't want this with the V. We want it off there. So we have to divide by 7.86, so V will be by itself. So we have to divide both sides by 7.86. So 2.4 divided by 7.86 is one of those little numbers I was talking about a while ago. So we get a little number of 0.30 milliliters. Now, a lot of people look at it, and they're like, Jameer, and you're like, that number can't be right. That's an decimal number. Okay? And most people are like, well, got to be something else. I need to flip that number. Let me divide 7.86 divided by 2.84. And I get 3. Oh, that number looks much better. Now, will I have 3.2 on the test?
No.
Yes, I will.
Yes, you will, of course.
I will have divided both those numbers both ways, and I will have multiplied those numbers. You will find an answer on the test. It won't be the right answer, but it will be on the test. Okay? I don't put down a bunch of junk answers to throw you off so you can go, oh yeah, I got the right answer. Okay? I will divide them both ways, and I will multiply them. So you will most likely find an answer. So just picking up the calculator will not get you the right answer. Okay?
When I plugged in my
Now,
number for
number 7, I got
the
this.
same
You
answer.
number 7.
You got what?
I had a different number, but I got 7.86 once I divided it.
Okay.
Check.
I just said,
Okay.
I could graduate, so. Let me do
All right, so number 7. So if you've got those 4 objects, what do we have to do if we want to put them in order by increasing density? Divide and get their densities. So M over V.
I need Devin. Can you throw to the main office, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
You taking a vest, or you just gonna get me in trouble by going with that one? So 15 divided by 4 is 3.75. 25 divided by 6 is 4.116. 30 divided by 12.
2.5.
35 divided by 15.
That's
2.3.
2.3.
And then you put it in order, it's gonna be 4, 3, 1, 2. No,
Okay.
actually, it's gonna be 2, 1, 3, 4.
All right, I said increasing. So that is small to large. So who's the smallest? The smallest here is who?
4,
And then who's the next?
3, 1, 2.
Now, if you drew it in a graduated cylinder like we did in the opening, that's fine. Oops, I need another one. You would have had 4, 3, 1, and 2. Either way would be fine to draw that answer. Okay? But I said increasing. So you got to start at the smallest and go to the biggest. All right. The last one I asked you to draw a graph. Yes, ma'am.
So you do like the top and the bottom?
Well, remember, you got to look at how I put the data in the chart. And because I had mass on the top, because that's grams, and milliliters on the bottom, yes, it's mass divided by volume. But on the test, make sure you look, because if I put the milliliters on top and the mass on the bottom, you got to make sure you flip it. Okay? All right, the last one. What's the volume if you have 6 grams? This is like what we did on the lab. So find your 6 grams is here, right? Because it's mass. Now, some of us were struggling reading the graph on the lab. Up to the what? Up to the line right here. And read over, and you get what? So,
6 what?
milliliters.
Whoa, shut up.
Okay? So the next question said, what's the mass at 7 milliliters?
7.
So 7 milliliters is there. And so we get 7 grams. Now, the last one says, what's the density?
12.
Now, look at this line. What can y'all tell me about it as soon as it comes back?
It's straight.
It's what? It's straight. The nice thing about these straight lines, and we're going to talk about these in the next unit, is it doesn't matter where you choose to find the density. You could choose to find the density anywhere you want to. So you could have picked one of the points that we already found, either one, or you could have picked a different one. It makes absolutely no difference. You choose. So if we take the one we did first, all right, what's the mass? What's the volume? So 6 over 6 is what? So the density would be 1 gram per milliliter. Questions about how to do that? Now, the test is Tuesday. Those of you who will study whether the test is Wednesday or Tuesday. Most of you are not going to study regardless. Okay? Now, we're going to switch gears for our last 25 minutes and talk about the new topic we're going to do. Now,
You gonna take notes or
you're going to take notes.
Hey. I just can't pull out the little jetpacks.
Well,
Turn on the
Yeah.
lights.
Yes.
You got very good.
You can try. Mayor, some tells me you and I are a good friend.
I'm telling you, man. It's always clear.
You better not take all day. What's gonna work, Ms. Wall? What's that? Are these levels gonna work? Are we gonna spend 30 minutes on what's on?
Do you work? Do you work? Do you work? Do you work? Do you work?
So you're gonna work.
On one slide? No, I
I
cannot.
was being sarcastic, but.
I cannot spend 30 minutes on one
It's been
spot.
about 10 minutes.
Just talking about what's wrong with y'all. Why y'all be doing it?
All right, we're gonna talk about motion for our new unit. And this unit will take about a week. So, we're gonna, you go out New Falls, I'll be the next unit, I'll be forces. All right, we're gonna talk about motion, which will include speed, velocity, acceleration, and momentum. Okay? Now, in order to talk about speed, velocity, acceleration, and momentum, we've got to talk about a frame of reference and the difference between distance and displacement. We're going to talk about a frame of reference first, and then we're going to start a little bit of distance and displacement. We won't get very far because of how long we spent on density today. Now, what is a frame of reference? Some people have heard of this when they get here. I don't think I have it typed in. I don't. All right. And some people have never heard of a frame of reference. Now, a frame of reference is essentially a stationary object or an object that appears to be stationary. Okay? Now, I am not a stationary object. I'm not sitting still.
Because you're not,
Constantly moving.
I am constantly moving. Now,
That'd be the select few teachers that we left.
now this is.
Hey, class.
now there might be some who are, but I'm not one of them.
Yeah, you be walking around.
She be sleeping before you see her.
Yeah.
I really move.
Yeah, but you can be gone. She still
You
just.
don't move. She can sleep. In school?
Yeah, for real. But see, she do have a lot. She do have health problems.
Yes.
Yes, my freshman year, she be sleeping.
She moved. I know I didn't
I
see
had
her.
her. She never fell asleep on us.
Yeah.
She's in Craven County. She's working with
No, I remember. No, I didn't see her.
She's working with adults. She's working with adults. It's a good move for her. Now,
She can sleep with
I remember
Now-
that. We'll be reading a book and she'll be in the chair like this. The whole time.
okay. Now, the only time I can remember falling asleep was during my planning period. And I was so sick. I should have stayed home, but I actually did fall asleep during my planning period. I fell out of the chair. Yeah, I had the flu. I should have never come to school. Now, what is a frame of reference? A frame of reference is a stationary object. Now, the object does not have to be stationary, but it must appear to be stationary. So if it appears to be stationary, it has to be moving so slow, we can't actually tell that it's moving. So, it could be. So, why do we need a frame of reference? Okay, let me talk about that first, and then we're going to talk about what could be a frame of reference.
Actually, does it
So-
sound
Hold on. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And that's what we're going to talk about those. All right, so why do we need a frame of reference? To determine if
The moon moves.
is moving. objects move. However, can we tell that they're moving for the most part when we look at them? No, they appear to be stationary, so you can use those things as a frame of reference. Don't laugh.
Can I make some?
You know how much we do not love this topic.
I'll knock you out. Yeah.
Can I make this stupid?
Yeah.
Huh?
Can I make this stupid?
You better ask him
I'll
something.
ask him how many plants he first.
You know, we're debating to put Pluto back
Nah,
in.
you gonna let the dog go.
How many?
How many came out?
Trillions.
That's funny.
They all like,
I keep asking. They keep saying 9. Alright, I said to you. Hey, ask.
if I come out the house, I
Ask.
ain't gonna
Hey, Devin, how many plants in the
go. No,
universe?
you won't, because they're reverse.
How many planets are in the universe?
The window's gonna be low.
Out of ours?
Yeah.
Ours?
No, universe. Well, actually,
Universe.
I just drive by.
Is it Woody County?
If you catch you outside, lacking them.
Is it Woody County?
He gonna jump.
Yes, it's
He throws. He probably got two.
They're not finna time outside.
He probably got plenty guns in his house.
I mean, yeah, 'cause we don't know what else he just
You don't.
You know,
But you just stop. All right, so,
stab him.
no, not stabbing anybody.
That's a question to ask.
No, not stabbing anybody.
No, go back. Sherman Way.
I don't want to do that one. All right,
Hey.
we're going to change those examples.
Man. That's what this booty ought to do. He's singing with young.
It's okay, but they don't come in flavors.
Why?
Give him chocolate.
What they
Chocolate, vanilla, strawberry.
There's one flavor, booty.
What's the
Booty. I'm really gonna get to my brother Lamar next time. Well, you
They're always
never
somebody
see
booty.
How many different dogs walk around?
All right,
Yeah.
is everybody caught up?
Yeah.
All right, so let's say, I'm going to change my example because I don't like it. All right? And you can put example up here. All right, we ride the bus home. Chris, stop. All right, let's say that we're going to list a frame of references. What could you say would be a frame of reference if you're riding the bus home? How do you know the bus is moving? What is not moving in relation to the bus?
The trees.
Okay, the trees will work. Devin's giving one answer. All right, I need something from somebody else. All right, the streets or the road? Whoops, not
The
Tress.
houses you pass.
All right, houses. I heard street.
Oh, wait, what was the question? When you're riding on the bus, what around you is not moving.
That's right. So you ride on the bus. Okay, the sidewalk.
Mailbox.
People.
All right, hold that thought for a second. Let me write down sidewalk,
People do move if we walk.
mailbox. All right. Now, shh. The people answer, I would not choose because most of the time people are going to move. Even if they're sitting on a bench or they appear to be stationary at that moment, they can move at any given time. Mailboxes are generally going to be stationary. They're cemented in something. Say, I would put the signs with the mailboxes. Those things are attached to the road, to the sidewalk, to the something. They are not going to move unless they're run over by a car or something. But they're generally attached. Okay? What?
Cars.
Cars are generally going to be moving. Now, if they're parked cars, yes, you could use parked cars. Okay? Now, I'm not as crazy about that one, but you could certainly use that. I like these better than those, which is why I put that one on that side. I'm not as crazy about that one. These are all fixed. Okay? Are these going to move at any time? No.
Totally.
Now, these are also attached to the earth. So a lot of times we will say the earth is the frame of reference because all of those things are attached to the earth, okay? Now, if we go back to the definition I just wrote about the frame of reference that y'all were debating just a second ago, we said it had to be stationary or appear to be stationary.
So Earth, we don't see the Earth moving.
That's exactly right. We don't feel it.
Sun.
We don't see it. That's exactly right. We don't see it. We know the earth moves because you've been taught it moves. But you know in the morning when you get up, what happens?
The moon.
The sun comes out, the moon moves away. When you go to bed at night, what happens?
The moon comes back.
The moon comes out and it gets hot. It gets hot. It gets dark. All right. When you get back up in the morning, it gets bright again. When you go to bed, it gets dark again. The earth is constantly spinning on its axis. We also know we have a change of seasons. So we know that the earth is rotating around the sun. Okay, yes, it is rotating around the sun. We know these things because you've seen them your entire life. Okay? It is tilted on its axis. Yes.
It is tilted.
Okay.
But it's moving on the
Now.
axis.
I know, I said.
Now,
I just want to know why the sun moves. Like, you gotta come back.
it's a star.
You gotta know how to back right.
What if it don't actually move? Or think it does?
Well, I mean, obviously, she
But
just
it
said it,
does.
so I mean, it gotta be moving. I ain't ready to look at it.
Abigail, if it didn't move,
No.
So I think it's
What if
Abigail.
Abigail.
We're not moving this.
Hey, come on, let's take a trip to the moon.
the small walks around the road. Well, the tables are stationary, the chairs, computers, lamps, desks, boards, cabinets.
All of the stars in the solar system and the universe are moving. Nothing is stationary. Okay? There's nothing attaching them in outer space. They're free floating objects.
So you telling me that if I buy a star, I ain't gonna be able to see my star if it moves?
Well, it's in a general vicinity and location,
Hey, you
yes.
buy a star.
But they're moving in outer space. They're not.
I ain't even gotta buy a star. I can just say that star is mine. I'll see you next week.
Do you think there's something?
Living out there, yes. Hold on. Huh?
When they go to the mall, the food, they got powdered nuts.
You have to dehydrate. No, it can't have water in it.
Come on, dude, get your head in the game.
Guys, it can't have water in it.
Cause it'll mess up the ship.
Yeah, because the water will get
I don't know the
into
intricacies of this. Space travel and that are not my thing. That is well past what I know for that subject matter. But it's got to do with leaving the atmosphere. And that.
That's weird.
But they have to dehydrate all the food and take the moisture out. And it's in vacuum packed sealing.
Little bag.
What's the question?
Oh, do you think like, okay, you know how
Do you
you go
like-
up in the space and there's like this all black?
Yeah.
Do you think there's something else to
Yes, I think they have proven there are other solar systems and other galaxies beyond ours.
But
Yes.
it's when it's black too.
I doubt it. I'm sure there are stars and suns beyond ours out there, yes. And I'm sure there are other life forms beyond ours out there. Don't look like that.
It's like more than 100 suns.
Who knows?
So like aliens think we're aliens?
Yes, I'm sure they do. All
Aliens are born object to a single person.
right.
Different races.
So if I'm walking around the room, and I appear to be moving, what's the frame of reference?
Tables,
Okay, tables are fine.
laptops, sinks.
Trash can.
People.
Water.
Not the people. Don't ever pick the people. Okay? What else? The floor.
Oh, the
Cabinets.
Doors.
Put your mirror pencil. That's the other one.
All right. The things that are attached to the floor, such as the sinks, the walls, are better frames of reference. The things that can be moved are poor choices for frames of reference. Okay? So don't pick the people or the things that are attached or sitting on the counters. Those are not good frames of reference. Okay? The whiteboard that's attached would be good. Okay? Say what?
Clark, you
That would
can
be
take
fine.
off the wall back.
Alright,
No, bro, you can take the smart board off the wall.
it's both.
Right.
It's both.
That's why he said.
Oh, it's all right, we can break.
You would go cuff for him too.
Yes, you could, but I'd really appreciate you not. Alright, now, I think it's 9 examples
We
here.
got 50 cents.
I want you and the partner sitting beside you to figure out what the frame of reference is in these examples.
Yeah.
So we're gonna finish class. Figure out what the frame of reference is in these 9
You said you
examples.
got 50 cents. You need some money.
Some of them you may be able to circle. Some of them you're gonna need to change the wording in and write it down.
No, it's a dollar.
That's
It's a dollar.
You told me that.
On
I said they
measurement
were a
density,
dollar
stuff like that.
fifty.
Who said a 50 cents?
Maria might have a dollar or 50 cents. Anyway, I'm just getting some.
Extra. Yeah.
Alright, somebody you're sitting right beside, and you come up with tells you the sun is so it's not moving. The graph, so you're looking at and you see the sun is coming over the sky. So what's not moving?
Hey, please, hey,
Graph.
Yeah.
You just said that.
Some have multiple. You said that some of them have multiple.
Yes, some of them have more than one answer. You do not have to have just one singular answer. Some of them do have more than one.
Miss Walkie, you my partner.
Should I be your partner? You got.
Wait, we got determine the frame of reference in the sentence, like using a word in the sentence.
Or you can be something else that's not in the sentence. Like in number 1, I get something that's not in the sentence.
I need a partner.
Yeah, the horizon. Oh.
Work with Forestella or Jameer.
You don't wanna work with me.
I don't know why. You're a delightful young man.
Exactly, that's what I said. That's what I
Where my water?
How could you do that? Like, drop kick in.
Drew. That's my answer.
They found
What?
Oh,
leaving me.
if I kick you, my people will expect me to send it.
Alright, that's my answer. Now we're
Yeah,
going
they
to
go
do
smooth
Forestella.
out it, boy. Can I work with
I'm already
Can I
done.
put it?
I ain't coming here now.
Boy, I don't want your vaccine.
You good.
Okay.
You good.
Wait, this.
So-
Oh.
I'm gonna shoot.
I'm gonna be on my solo dolo type.
We were in the airplane, looking down to see the tree.
You just feel it on my
cheeks. Oh, right.
That would be good.
I want to work with King Sally.
How would you put that? It's an airplane.
How would that?
You look down the airplane, you see a
I
train.
can't look down, there's no train.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
If it's a clear day and you look out the window on an airplane, yes. you're
I've been
surprised.
on an airplane 10 times back and forth to California and here and Connecticut.
Airplanes on fire.
I ain't never seen no train.
You have not seen out the window of the plane.
No.
Oh,
You have
yeah.
been surprised.
You don't know.
Just walk out this man.
I look out the windows, particularly when we're landing.
I'll pay him to say
Airport. Like you're all looking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on now. Okay. Those some people like. Yes.
Not all planes fly the same altitude.
Yeah.
I crash
Alright, so if you're looking outside, you see people standing on the side of that. What's not gonna be moving if you're looking at people on the side. People do it.
So. That's not.
I got a question for Adam.
Who over there? You got a question for what?
What is also?
For Adam. Okay.
Could I put clouds?
No, the clouds will be moving. We're not moving clouds.
I've been saying it all day. Yes, I have. How do y'all not know that?
That was funny.
I'll prepare all the questions.
Really? Oh,
I bet.
Train. I was thinking
Oh, yeah,
about, what is the train on that would not be? That would be better.
That was the question. They'll say true.
But you don't have to pick something that's in the question.
Oh.
Okay. Now, just to clarify something that DeAndre didn't understand me to say, in the questions, when you're trying to pick the frame of reference, you do not have to pick a word that's in the question. Okay? So when you're thinking about the scenario, you do not have to pick a word that's in the question explicitly. Okay?
Can I take a step outside and blow my nose?
Yes, you may.
I got it. Come back later.
So it's not moving the scenario. But it's not have to be something that's in the question.
My 8th grade year, bro, you keep bullying me on
Why not? What difference does it make? The world is things attached to it. Sure.
Oh, you
It's
lying.
not said explicitly in the question. So there's nothing wrong with picking that.
The right letter means not saying.
Who else has a question? Yeah. No, we're gonna go over it on Tuesday because we're out of time. All right, we've got about 2 minutes to bell rings. So put these in a safe place. Don't lose them. Put them in your notebook. We'll finish it on Tuesday. Put your calculators in the bucket so it's all one flat level. What's your homework? Study for the test.
Boy, no, I got it. I'm off weekend. Hey, I'm so thankful that today game.
Sure, it's around 30 questions. There's one that's around. No, most of them are much shorter. I should be back in town by then. I will try to be in town. I will have to do laundry and stuff because I'm going on the house. I'll try to turn on the station. Now, y'all see calculators on y'all desk in the bucket? Come on, Devin, flat. There you go. Calculators in the bucket. Butts in chairs, we can not put the calculator in the bucket.
Hey. Put it in the bucket.
Oh my God, 120, let's go.
All right, I need 2 more calculators. 1 more calculator.
Look like a weasel.
All right.
Thank you, that's fine.
Look like a weasel. Look like a weasel.
Have a good weekend. Bye, Devin. You doing anything special for your birthday?
I'm going out to eat tonight, that's about it.
Well, that's something.
No, Mom's gonna go take me, go get some more clothes for school, because uniforms.
Well, there you go. That sounds like fun. I hope you enjoy what you're having tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I really can't do anything anyway, because my grandma passed away today too, so
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
thank you. Do you want this?
Yes, please. Thank you very much, my dear.
Have a good day.
You too. Hey, Mr. Tomlin, who are you looking for? Ms. Rector?
This wall?
Oh, I'm Miss Wall.
Yes.
What'd you need?
Need to talk to you about Isaac.
About who?
Isaac.
Isaac.
Can I
Yes.
start in your fourth period?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what's trying to happen, and this is why he was with me yesterday. What we're trying to do is, being that we found out that this Kim is an elective for him, we're trying to rotate him into my fourth block.
I think that's fabulous.
Okay, so I told him to come by and check with you today. It's in the process of changing. If it's not on my schedule, if he's not on my schedule, I know he needs to be in here. So that way he can be doing what he needs to. So, I mean, if there's any way, as far as until this is changed, hopefully sometime next week it's settled out, is there any way, whatever he missed yesterday, you can?
Videoed on YouTube, and
Okay.
He missed a lab and a quiz, which he can make up next week if it doesn't get changed. Hopefully it'll get changed. The YouTube video is on YouTube, and it's also linked to the class website. So
Okay, cool.
you can watch it if they don't make the switch. So he
Cool.
is struggling a little bit. And honestly, given it is an elective and he doesn't need it to graduate,
Mhm.
you know, I don't know why schools still want you to jump through the hoops to have a chemistry credit.
Especially graduating semester.
I know, but
That's
whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it is, truthfully, physical science is a better class. It's not as rigorous. It's not as great on the transcripts. You know, he's a beta club kid. He's going to go to a four-year school. They probably more chemistry on those transcripts. He's going to really have to work for it based on what I've seen in the last 3 days. He would probably be happier in your class.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, because I mean, and I know they don't want to do this school, but it's done at a lot of other schools that I've been with, and from my personal experience, is, you know, the dedicated band members, their senior year, if they have that free time, they can elect to take like 2 bands in a semester. He's already in my first block, but I told him, if we get you into my fourth block, what you're going to do in first block, because he's getting honors credit in my first block, he's going to learn a new instrument. He's going to learn a woodwind. And then he'll play trombone in fourth block.
Okay, I think that's fabulous. If guidance will go for it,
Yeah.
I am certainly okay with it.
Okay.
He was in a group of really, really sharp kids.
I can tell.
And he's going to finally go, I think, a little bit in here. And if he would really enjoy being with you better, I think it's a great thing.
And I think also it'll,
Hi, Ms. Rector.
I think also it'll also round out his transcript, because it'll kind of show him to any of the universities he applies, even if he's not doing music, it'll round that out a little bit. It kind of shows him extra credit side to it, and open him up to maybe a music scholarship to even play in a concert or symphonic ensemble while he's doing his actual major.
Right.
So
I think it's
that's-
great. I mean, it'll drop me to 13, which is, sort of sad, but, it's okay. I have no problems with it at all.
Okay.
At all.
Cool. I mean, I told him today that unless it's changed, until it's officially changed on his transcript, he does need to come by and see you and be with you until it's officially changed on his transcript.
It's fine. It is fine.
Thank you, Ms. Wall.
You're welcome anytime.
I have to do this, do mine today.
Right.
Michelle's gonna be all kinds of pissed off. 'Cause they didn't have practice yesterday. This morning, she's like, I thought it was supposed to be raining.
It is. Here's the ball game.
Now, the Weather Channel still says it's supposed to be pouring down rain by then, but. 3 PM, 50% chance, 4 PM, 70% chance. It's higher than I'm checking this later on this.
Oh, Chick-fil-A?
That was our celebratory breakfast on the way home. Last time she'll go.
Oh, good.
Well, Mama said the comfy chair.
Go ahead. Get rolled, be careful. If you try to roll from one place to another, you're not gonna crash into a counter, because every time I move forward or back, I crash into the counter. Not very long. You won't Isaac Cash take a second band class. Oh, it was fine. Of course, he's in that group of really good, sharp, 4th period kids. He is really good. So. But it's up to you. If you get sick, it's fine with me. I got no complaint. Good morning.
I was gonna do that yesterday, and I couldn't do anything wrong. The other one, what? So I have a Shelby's appointment.
You don't have to know that.
All right, well, you go work on it, yeah, I'll help you.
We had our
When you
X-ray,
done.
and I always push in the room and pull up the X-ray. And so we had 3 X-rays up there, and the one we had today was in the middle. Michelle looked at that, and she said, started to laugh. Walked back on the table, she's like, can't do this, can't have this. I know, it was got all the curve. When it's an S-curve. It's bad.
Even that?
We do it well, but what's going on? And then the intern came in again, he looked back, this was always an intern. And so she's looking at it, she pulled up the one from 6 months ago, and she lined it upside the other one, I looked at Michelle, and she looked at me, and I was like, oh my God, am I okay? Because lined up the one from 6 months ago, it was so bad. She started to calm down a little bit then, and then she started to talk, and I was like, we're gonna do it. And so, she
So the
said,
doctor didn't talk to you, just the intern?
well, at first we talked to him. We had already talked to Dr. Freno twice, because he passed through when we were sitting in the waiting room. Because we were the only ones there at that point today. And so she came through, or she was chatting with us. First one I had was, had a skirt and was amputee of some type and had her prosthetic leg on. I was like, go girl. That was very impressive that you're just wearing a skirt and you're a prosthetic limb. I was very impressed. Because most people have it covered and all of that. And I was like, way to go. So anyhow, so she's chatting with us about the growth plate and asking about her height of a half an inch growth since the last time. And I'm like, you were a half inch? She said, she had shoes on last time. I said, incredibly narrow sandals. I said, and we made sure that she had the same shoes on both times from a year ago and 6 months ago. And she wore Converses this time. And so, anyhow, she had those on, and I didn't have to take them off because she had tennis shoes on. That's probably why she grew a half inch, because she hadn't grown a half inch. Her growth plate's pretty much closed. She's had her period for 2 years, so the curve she has, the curve she's going to be stuck with. So, she told us that Dr. Freno would come in if we wanted him to. I'm like, what do I want him to? It's a lowly intern. I didn't say that out loud. I just said, well, given we've been coming for 5 years, I think she'd like to see Dr. Freno before we leave. So anyhow, he came in and he said the same thing. The growth plate's closed. curve has held steady for the 6 months. It's still in the middle 30s in terms of the curve. So it should stay that way. She has to, of course, be mindful of body weight over the years and osteoporosis in her 50s and 60s because her back will be more likely to deteriorate as she gets older.
So they're done that?
5 years, we will graduate.
Wow.
We do not have to go back.
That just seems amazing that they won't like make come back 3 years for example.
I told them if we have any issues, any back pain, anything like that, we can call them. So, although
Is there anything-
I don't think Shelley will tell me anything, just here she'll have to go back.
Is there anything though that she can do to straighten up? I mean, other than surgery?
Yeah.
Do exercises?
Not the lot cleaners that we can do. Now, Hoda was telling me about two students she had back from Rowan County, we went to some clinic in New Jersey. We did some high maintenance physical therapy for straightening. One was able to avoid surgery and one wasn't. But I'm not even in New Jersey for that. So, I mean, and she's done dancing and they wanted to do a back bend to check her shoulders and, you know, because she's got a little bit of rotation. But most people don't know she has scoliosis unless she shows them or, you know, something like that.
Is that a hereditary thing? To do that?
They say I have some. And, my father was. I didn't know I had it until I had the MRI. But they picked shells out in fifth grade, gym.
And they always used to make you bend over and.
That's what they got it. They changed it there.
And I'll be glad they did.
Yep. Kind of back. They were pleased to see that the system worked because when it happened, I had to go, of course, to the pediatrician. And he said, yep, you just go for an x-ray. And the x-ray had too high of a temperature. So we were referred. I had to go internal x-rays and then we had to have an MRI. I got back there was freaked out. 10-year-old had an MRI. They had to have 3 of them. We had to rule out, was there a reason she had scoliosis at such a young age? Because it was earlier than it should have shown itself. And
So I remember taking in middle school. I remember.
it was the beginning of fifth grade.
I remember.
And she's a year younger than most kids, so she had to have matter of fact, it took me years to have it somewhere else. But her MRI, this was what, 5 years ago, it cost $10,500. He got a finger and said, you know that's more than I charged for scoliosis surgery? I said, no.
You had to pay kids money?
Nah, insurance paid $8,800. I paid the rest. Nah. So,
Yeah, we're gonna be paying some open heart surgery also. 3 more years.
yeah, I give them the minimum I have to for a back MRI, which is $52 a month.
Well, we do too. You know, when I was talking to Jason, I was like, man, we need to get that package and shit. But Madeline graduated and they're gonna be the last production. Or last, whatever it is.
Independent.
Walk out there and walk right in. So we're talking about it. And then I said, wait a minute, though.
You got all that medical
Still
stuff.
didn't work, you know, you have to have.
A ton of them.
Yes. So it's gotta be a percentage or something of
Your
income.
Yes, and
Yes.
of course, we're not paying $1,000 a month or something, but I remember he was out of work. So his salary for a year is gonna be 75% of what it was, so maybe. But I was trying to figure out a way. This sucks so bad, just found this out. Now, I'm putting somebody that knows them watch it because why would my tax return without knowing it? And, but I did not know that we're paying off so Kelsey's student loan. She doesn't have near as much as that. And so we're assuming responsibility for one, and now we're paying it. And they sent her the tax thing. I'm not supposed to be able to write it off. She is, because it's in her name, even though we close that. It does. I think that sucks big time. So, I kept it off on us because I knew how much it was. I was like, well, maybe I'm just lost. I'm pretty much did it. And, so then I was talking to Snipes about it. And I was like, thank goodness for Holly Johnson. He's like, he doesn't count. And he was questioning it. And I said, you have to cut it off. He said, you have your name on it again, but it's not her name on it. So, I know, so I was trying to figure out a way we were going to count off some of it. And I think maybe if I do a home equity loan and like, you know how much I'm gonna pay for the year, borrow that much from my home. Yeah. Pay, and pay payments on that, pay that much or something, and then each month pay myself back. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then I can deduct the interest, pay for that whole thing. See, council can deduct the whole, she can use the whole damn thing for deduction, not just the interest.
It's not fair.
No, hell no, it's not fair.
Speaking of not there, you weren't here earlier, Jeremy, found out in touch with James last night.
Oh,
Ariana JT's
he's not
dad.
gonna sign?
He wants him.
He wants him?
Who's James?
Ariana JT's dad.
Oh.
Who they haven't seen in like a year, yeah, thinking he might try and fight it.
Thank you for it.
Uh-huh. So he's decent, isn't he? I thought you said he paid.
He paid child support every month. That's about it. Got his 12 kids.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so apparently Jeremy talked to him once, like, he works third shift, so he has to be in the house with him.
Exactly.
Or last week.
Take him to court.
Last week he knew, and the lawyer said the last address she could find him was a hotel.
Take him to court.
So, yeah, Jeremy said he
Take him to court.
he texted me this morning and said, James is gonna be a problem. I said, why? He said, he wants him. I said, are you kidding me? So, yeah, Jeremy, he's supposed to call Jeremy Day, and they're gonna meet to discuss things this weekend, but I told Jeremy, he ain't getting him. He can go to court.
Exactly. Take
You
him
ain't
to
done
court.
nothing for you, they haven't seen you, like a year. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
who is gonna take care of?
And he's got like,
Is he taking care of all those kids?
Child support, I think.
Are any of them living with him?
Not to my knowledge.
Well, then you could.
Maybe the new baby, apparently there's a new baby. Mind you, he's in his like 50s.
Well,
Unless he can provide.
you could use that all over the place. He's got all these kids.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
how are they doing at your house?
They're doing all right. They're pretty big on their just normal shit, aren't they? Because they just constantly argue with each other and shut. That's what I want to say.
Welcome to the world.
Who's in middle school other than Tyler?
Just time. My niece is in 5th grade.
And close.
Yeah. And JT's in 1st.
Should have seen Shelley's epic meltdown on Wednesday. She was still at cross country practice. She was finishing up and trying to make it 4 miles that day. I was going to go. And so she got to head out and go out. Sure. Hurry up, got an appointment to get to. Yeah, so.
Why?
Hurry up. You only had 10 minutes, it was a 20-minute ride.
To get to what?
The entire car.
Oh.
If I know anybody ready to go home with somebody else, normally we're done by that time. They're running good and late, and she's walking on the track. I needed her to run, my God. I needed her in the car. We had to be somewhere. I was like, hurry up down there. Come on. Gotta go. She got the car and she's mad. So I give her a hard time on the way.
So next time, if she hears the horn honking, that means hurry up. Oh, don't you dare do that.
Then Ian wouldn't lay off. She got so mad. She stormed out of the place to get his haircut. And wouldn't speak to either of us for an hour.
Do you laugh at stuff like that? Because there are times like with all of you in Harvard, I just laugh. I just laugh.
Oh, get this one. Yeah, that's the thing. So Friday, things are kind of crazy. We went to school. Madeline texted me and said, I'm coming home Saturday and later Sunday. He's like, okay. Couple weeks ago about it. You should fix it. So Phil and I bought some steaks and stuff for Saturday, and I'm sitting back doing something on the computer or whatever, and it's like 4:35 o'clock, and the door open, and I hear flip-flops, and I'm like, She had bad such a So, oh, no, no. And so she figured it out later. She was like, "You don't come to that." Now Mom's coming. Or she just told me. She looked at me and I said, sorry. I forgot.
I'm supposed to go to Mom's this weekend. Leave tomorrow morning. So it's like, you think there'll be gas out there to get home? I'm like, I hope so. I can call Mom and ask if they're having a shortage out there. I hate to not go home, we probably won't go again Thanksgiving. Won't really go to the well. I like our principal's message of get gas now, or she really won't come to work.
She was just looking out for us. What's she think?
It's on my desk.
You have my, thank you.
It's on my desk. That's what I said, it's on my desk.
I know what you said.
Did you get your lunchbox?
Yeah, I'm not here, Timmy.
Okay, I said it with Molly. Did you find it?
No, I didn't.
Unless somebody took it, it's up here on my desk.
For what? See, Miss V just gave it to me, you know, like, this.
It needed to be in envelope.
It should be, but, you know. I'm mad. Do you have something with Harper? Oh, I love Harper. That was my first time having her in class. Yeah, no. She's way different than Elin. Yeah, they are different. No class. Yeah. It was the sweetest thing last night, because they both have simultanes, and their classes overlap for like 30 minutes or so. So there's like 30 minutes, and I get to just sit there. And then, but you know, they keep talking to each other, and you know, Harper keeps running over there to Elin and this and that. And I will say, she went over there last night. Elin's during supper. Harper runs over to her and hugs her like this, and gives her a kiss on the back. And Woman's in time, he's like, "Oh, that was so sweet." I said, "They don't do that at home."
Yeah, it's fat. Fight like
I
cats.
said, "If only they would do that at home." No, they're rolling each other on the floor at home. Yes. But it was cute. It was cute. It's like, Harper, you better go there to your class. Elin, you better go there to your class.
Have your phone ready next time so you can take a picture of it.
He had a sign on the board.
I got no lab papers turned in, so my question is, did they not finish, or they not know how to do it, or did they not understand? Yeah.
Now, I would say that seems to be a longer lead than probably half an hour. Wow, you put 10 minutes in there. But it was fine.
The other day, when they did it, I would have preferred they did it here, but I said, I'm gonna do it, I'm not gonna get pissy about it. And I was here. You know, I thought I didn't have to that last night, I was like, you should be. And I had gotten that, because I was World War II. Oh, they changed it to September 5th on Tuesday. Staff meeting. Well, that's good, because I couldn't make the September 11th one, so that's good enough.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think September 11th was possible.
I got to have that covered as it is.
On the 11th.
Yeah, that's not new culture, dermatologist. It's reading clock. So it's either 2:45, somewhere out in This is, I got some GPS, I don't even know what shit that is. It is no suspicious. Yeah, I went and did Moe's last night, Trevor wanted to go to Omega to get a double bag, and we went to the little food backpack to put her, Costco stuff, hanger stuff in the bag. She's borrowing people stuff, put her shoes in. So I was like, well, just go to Dick's. She was like, no, I want to go to Omega, I saw one I liked. I was like, holy shit, man, you know how far the strap of that is. So anyhow, that's not, she is a retail snob. I thought I was bad. She makes me look, I am the most flexible person on the planet. So anyhow, we head up the road to Omega and we I think it's up that direction, man. That won't be important to start.
But yeah, they pretty good. Mine's got some brains.
Remember, you
I
look
know.
at GPS.
Yes, I got to do.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I saw your boys here, they're going to bed again.
Yeah, he's out of hall passes. He told me he'd be eating lunch with me every day. That's the reason. Well, I got to feed third period. I said, okay. And he's not going long. I think he really is just going to the bathroom and straight back. Because he is not going long. He is not going long. Based on the amount of time he's going, he's not.
Our class.
Exactly. I said, whatever. Devin leaves at about 3:15 or 1:15 every day to go see Blackwell for his insulin medicine. All right, whatever.
Blackwell's confirmed that?
He was supposed to leave at 1:10. I trimmed him back. Yeah, I trimmed him back to 1:15. I was like, she's right next door. He's only 1:10. No. He's not for his lab. He's not for his homework. And when Sean Parker copied somebody else's data down today and then tried to hand it to me, I said, what do you think I'm gonna do with that? He said, what do you mean?
I heard you, I just didn't know who you were talking about, I heard you.
He's copying somebody else's data down. I said, I know who had data and who didn't have data. It's part B, and this is part B. I said, you fools are gonna have to figure out real quick. I said, I keep track of that stuff. I know clearly. I said, if you want to get a grade, you got to do what you're supposed to do in class. So if you're going to do to do nothing, you get nothing. You're going to get 0. I said, when I give you a time limit, you got to get it done. And we walked through that 2 questions, 4, 5, and 6 on that. What was doing it in the craft? Tornado watch. Jesus Christ.
Or who?
That was a guy.
Oh, we need business early. I'm feeling unsafe, I need to get my kids and go home.
You sound like a retarded detective when I told her she would stay after school and do what she just turned pictures. I don't feel safe from the late bus. I'm not riding the late bus home. She feels like, what? 1 week down. Amen. You sound like Chauncey.
Not quite yet.
No, I'm excited. I want Jesus. I just want Jesus.
Not say the word. I don't want to jinx it. That's right. Third grade is bad news. No worries. Well, that's okay. We'll be glad to be this semester. You gotta see his list next semester to understand what next semester.
Oh, yeah. Live all you all this semester, honey. Next semester, just over you.
Well, you put one.
See, I didn't have a problem with her. I did. I had an honors biology, pretty sure she was one of my ones on the ESC maybe. Oh, yeah. I didn't have any behavior problems out of her name. She, I didn't have any issues with her, behavior wise, but she just, and it was being honest. She was fine.
I want the other page, the other ones. You don't know the table?
When you wrote the guidance, I was with person. My grade, I told her that, and she wrote back to me exactly like they used
Well, who put him in there?
to. They said it was the lady at the guidance. I said, well, yeah, that's what it said. Who's my
Freshman, Abby Watson here. Okay. Are we seniors?
They divided the.
Oh,
Oh,
they divided,
that's
that's right.
okay.
And Washington.
Boy's the beginning,
Yeah.
and then Wallington's middle and the end.
The big boy. Maybe like you.
That'll crack you up. Uncle Reeves came about 4 of years after I spilled the blue goo everywhere. He's telling me, not letting you do with me anymore. It's gonna be, terrified of us. Corrupted. Mr. Jones, Uncle Reeves. The janitor on the front hall. No, you think that. No, it's Edward.
Mr. Edwards is maybe, yeah, another
I think
100.
John's gonna be fine.
Yeah, John got
Sideburns, yeah, it's the other one. Yeah, I the wrong one, he's upstairs.
Do I know that one?
Yeah.
That's the Chuck Berry. He looks like a young Chuck Berry.
So-
Got the look and chops.
One of you guys hit the,
Oh, yeah.
the,
Gotcha.
I don't know what the big thing is.
Tyler likes his glasses.
So far. So far. We'll see if we actually can, go.
Octavia Turner, please report to the main office. Octavia Turner, please report to the main office.
And then there's supposed to be another. Oh, her is. Well, they're doing the Y for school program, so I'm like, we're not doing homework, because you get it done there. But I think we're supposed to have to do a homework note again, and not. But they don't.
Fernando Camacho, please report to the main office. Fernando Camacho, please report to the front office.
Too busy right now. For me to sit down and double check everything. So we'll see how it goes for a couple weeks and see what kind of grades we're getting. If it's still, if they're doing good, then we'll see what they whoa, then we'll sit down. Put us where Karen goes. Take one.
You know what I'm saying? Just wanted to see your thoughts.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, we did.
One day.
Well, first of all, the X-ray.
Everything else
Students, you have 30 seconds to get to class, 30 seconds to get to class.
No, she's
Oh, that's Yeah, see, I was still trying to help you.
Yeah. Probably be proud of it. Yeah, she said they all go through about.
Planetary teachers, we still have students in the hall. If you still see students in the hall at this time, please sweep them to the front office.
Already sweep it. I'm on it.
Good afternoon, students. It's time for your afternoon announcements. Those students wishing to run for an SGA office, please make sure that you've picked up your applications and you turn them into Mr. Jessup. Also, the next SAT is October 7th. The deadline to register is September 8th. See Ms. Biggers and Ms. Ragland for help with registering and fee waivers. Again, the next SAT is October 7th. The deadline to register is September the 8th. Students who wish to become a North Carolina Senate page, North Carolina House page, or junior legislature page in Raleigh, North Carolina will need to sign up with Mr. Johnson on the Blue Hall. We only have limited spots available. Sign up today. You must have no school infractions.